Hi guys, and welcome to Escape Wheel Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're going to be reviewing the Heron Marinor Ghost. So I received this watch for free. However, I don't get to keep the watch. I have to send it back, unfortunately, because this watch is really nice. I will be leaving a link down in the video description that takes you right to the Heron website, where you can pick up either color choice, which you have right here on screen. You have this kind of a gray fume color or this nice ice bluish color. So the retail price for this watch is $590 US. That's before any taxes, sales, or coupons or anything like that. The watch case is made of 316L stainless steel, which has been hardened to 1200 Vickers, has a sapphire crystal with AR coating, a screw-down crown, a screw-down caseback, 300 meters of claimed water resistance, and then the watch is powered by the High-Beat Miyota 9039 automatic movement. So if this looks familiar, that's because I reviewed the normal version a while ago. Now Heron has come out with this new limited edition with 100 being made. It's got a really interesting look, and they're doing something that very few micro brands are doing. I think I've only seen one other micro brand doing it. So what is it? What's the watch like? I say we get into it and find out. But before we do a quick wrist check today. Wearing a new watch to me. Got a cool, funky LED Armatron Griffey on wrist today. Thought I'd grab one of these things. They're dirt cheap. I got mine for 26 bucks. All right, let's get into dimensions. A bezel diameter of 40 millimeters, case thickness of 12.7, at 20 millimeter lug width, a lug tip to lug tip of 46.5 millimeters, and sized up for my 7.5 inch wrist with 3 links removed. It weighs 139 grams. So if I'm not mistaken, that is the same exact case and dimensions as before. Pretty nicely done. The bezel is slightly overhanging, so the case itself is about 39 millimeters, not 40 millimeters. So I think it wears great. It's got a very manageable lug to lug. The case thickness is also in check. Got some nice turn down to the lugs there as well. I liked it before, and I still like it, so I'm going to go outside right now and throw it on my wrist for you. And here we are on my 7.5 inch wrist, and as you can see, it wears really nice. I do like the size on this thing. Nice slim profile there as well. Lots of light play off of that flat link bracelet. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Get a great fit because of the on the flat clasp as well. So I do really like the way that this thing wears. I think it looks really good as well. Under this oak tree, it is struggling just a little bit with reflections, but I think it does a pretty good job for the most part. It looks worse on camera than it does in real life, so just something to keep in mind. But yeah, I do think it looks really cool underneath this tree, and I like that ghost bezel. I think it looks fantastic. And popping out in some bright Florida sunshine here. Sorry about the bug there, whatever that is making the noise. But yeah, I do think it looks really good. Again, struggling just a little bit with legibility, but for the most part, it looks worse on camera than it does in person. And the colors on this dial look absolutely fantastic. I really do like that. Kind of a fume brown color. We'll talk about the dial here just a little bit, but yeah, I think it looks fantastic. All right, let's go throw it on some straps, and we'll get back to this review. And here we are on a black rubber cut to size strap. This is off of AliExpress. Go pick some of these up because these are awesome. The link will be down below. Yeah, these things are just really good. And I do like the way that they look. Nice, clean looking strap. Obviously a black rubber strap or FKM strap. It's going to look good on a diver, and definitely does here. And here we are on a single pass nylon strap. This is a raft strap from CNS Watch Bands. Link will be down below for this thing. I really do like these. These are awesome. I think that looks really good there too. And here we are on a dark gray nylon strap, Cincy Strap Co. SF2, so nice and thin, but 2 layers underneath the watch there, and it's still sitting very nice. I just like this dark gray. It goes nicely with that dial in my opinion. All right, let's go back inside and let's get back to this review. All right, so let's talk about the case and the case finishing. So first things first, I will mention again, this is a 316L stainless steel case, which has been hardened to 1200 Vickers. So it's going to be very scratch resistant. This is a review piece. I don't see any scratches on it. Usually the review pieces come with a few scratches. This one, not so much. It looked pretty much mint. So I feel like this case is going to last a very long time. It's going to look really good for a long time too. So yeah, just something to know. I mean, it's a really big selling point to me. I hate little scratches on cases. This is one that you're going to be able to beat up pretty good and have it still looking nice. So yeah, really happy with the case on this thing. You can see here, you have a circular brushing on the top of the lugs there, horizontal brushing on the case sides with nice high polished chamfers there. Everything looks pretty nice and tidy. I noticed this on the previous version. I will notice it again and point it out to you guys in these little tight corners here. The brushing just kind of disappears. It's not very consistent in those corners. I think it's kind of hard for them to get into that area, but yeah, it's something that's not really noticeable, but it's definitely there. Same on this side here, that little flat right there between the crown guard and the lugs. It's missing some brushing. So it was the same on the previous one. It's the same on this one. It's not a huge deal. It's not something that I've really noticed, but yeah, it's something that I did pick up on and I wanted to share with you guys. Again, we have horizontal brushing on the case sides here. Screw down signed crown with a really cool wheel logo there. Nice, big, and grippy crown tucked in nicely into those crown guards. I think it all looks really, really good. Flipping over to the case back here, you see you have a circular brushing on the case back. Everything here is nicely done. Simple notches to get a tool in there, and then you get a simple spec sheet here on this little graph here. Heron 32. I wonder if that's 32 out of 100. I'm not really sure. Model is the Mariner, and then you got the 1200 Vickers hardened steel, sapphire crystal, and 300 meters. So really nice, simple spec sheet around the outside. Everything down here has been rounded off nicely. It's a very comfortable watch on wrist. I'm overall very, very happy with it. I think they did an excellent job on the previous one and this one. I think it looks really good. All right, so let's talk about the bezel on this thing. So the bezel insert this is where the ghosted comes in. It's a throwback to the vintage dive watches where those numerals, they just kind of faded off after time. So this one is fully ghosted. There's no numerals at all. It's just a circular brushing. It kind of has a rounded appearance to it, as you can see right here. It's really an interesting look. Very, very cool. You have your lume pip here at the 12 o'clock position. Everything seems to be lined up pretty good. It's maybe just a hair off on this one. You got a stainless steel bezel itself with a polished coin edge grip to it. Plenty of grip. I think it's a good resistance. It's a 120 click. I'll let you listen to it here. So it is a pretty quiet bezel, I'm going to say, but nice even resistance all the way around. It feels good. It sounds pretty good. I'm not going to say it's the highest quality sounding bezel. A little more click there. But it locks into place. There's no play with it. There's no bounce in it. There's no wobble in it or anything like that. It's a very solid bezel with good resistance, good action. Yeah, it's a good one. The crystal on this, it is sapphire crystal. As you can see here, it's got plenty of blue or purplish AR coating to it. It's only really distracting on the edges there. Some people like that, some people don't like it. I think it actually looks pretty cool. It's very, very apparent on the edge though. It's a boxed dome sapphire crystal, nice and clear on the inside, but plenty of distortion at the edges there. I think it looks really good. It's the same crystal as before. Keeps the dial nice and legible. It's a very clear crystal. I've got no real complaints with it. They could use maybe a couple more coats of air coating. I've seen better crystals, but it's not a negative of this watch in my opinion. I think they chose a good one, and I really do like the shape of it. I think it's just about perfect for this thing. All right, so let's talk about the dial on this thing. So the dial is very nicely done. It's a really dark brown fume color. It just fades beautifully to the outside edge there. You have a printed minute track, which kind of obscured a little bit by the curve of the crystal, but for the most part, it's completely legible. The 12 o'clock marker there, it's kind of that star. It's on a fully printed dial, so they got rid of the applied indices from the previous version and just kind of bring it to an older vintage aesthetic to it. It does have a faux patina type of lume paint color to it. It's very subtle. I think it looks absolutely fantastic with this dial color. They did a really good job with it. The handset that they used, nicely sized, a little bit different from your typical style handset like this. But yeah, I think they look really good. They're, like I said, perfectly sized there. The thing that they're doing, which other brands aren't doing, there's no logo on this thing. There's no logo at all on the dial. There's no text at all on the dial, which is really unusual for a watch like this. I think I've only seen one other brand do something like that, and that's on from Bracelet, and that's like a military watch, which didn't have branding to begin with. So yeah, the fact that they aren't putting any branding on this at all, yeah, I think it's kind of a bold move. But I do really like it. Normally I'm not a fan of sterile dials, but this for some reason just works for me. It doesn't feel empty like most sterile dials do. So I am really happy with the dial on this thing. The lume, on the other hand, is a little bit of a letdown. I'm going to pop up a Lume Shot here. You can see it against So here it is against a couple other watches in the collection. You can see going up against a couple other watches that are pretty much the same price point, right around 600 US dollars. The Laurier is probably the more fair comparison. It has faux patina, it's a printed dial, but you can see that that one actually holds on pretty good. The Mariner does kind of fade. The dial definitely needs a few more layers. The hands are pretty good, but the dial definitely fades. I put in the Wise just because I had it in there and it was roughly the same price point. That thing is an anomaly. The lume on that watch is absolutely killer. I didn't think it was going to last up against that watch, but I figured I'd throw it in there just to show you what you can get for 600 US dollars. But yeah, the lume on this is a little bit disappointing. It's not horrible, but it definitely could be better. So let's talk about the movement and the crown. So the movement is the Miyota 9039 automatic movement. It's a no date, 3-hand only, high beat automatic, so 28,800 beats per hour, roughly 40 hours of power reserve. It hacks, it hand winds. The only real negative of it, in my opinion, is the single directional winding rotor. So you can hear the rotor winding in the back. It's not a huge deal to me, but I would definitely prefer a bidirectional winding. But this case is actually pretty solid, so I don't really notice it that much. The movement has been very accurate for me. I couldn't get an accurate reading on my time grapher for some reason, but over the past 4 days, it's running about 5 seconds a day fast. So pretty acceptable. And I believe this is also a pre-production or prototype unit, so I don't expect them to be regulating these ones, but they probably will be regulating the ones that go out to customers. So it's just something to note. The crown on this thing, really just a perfect size and really nicely designed. I like that logo there. Plenty of grip on it as well. Tucks in nicely into those crown guards. Nice and smooth screw in and screw out action. Decent pop out from the Miyota movement. First position is your hand winding. Feels exactly like it should. It's a really nice and solid crown too. Pull it out to the first position there, and it does hack the movement right away. This is where you set your time. Again, everything functions as I expected it to. It's very smooth. Hands don't jump or anything like that. Screw in and screw out action. Again, just really nice and smooth. So yeah, no complaints in the movement department. All right, so let's talk about the bracelet on this thing. So the bracelet is a solid 3 links there. It is fully brushed on the tops and on the sides. Really nice case finishing, or really nice brushing on the bracelet. Very satinized. It's a flat link bracelet, so it really does play with the light nicely. Again, it is 3 solid links, and it is a fully articulate, well, not fully articulating, but those middle links, they are separate pieces from the outer link. So the fluidity on the bracelet is top notch. This bottom edge has been knocked down nicely. It's super comfortable on wrist. I have had it pull some hairs when I'm putting it on wrist, when I'm like sliding it over my wrist. But once it's on wrist, I haven't had any hair pulling or anything like that. So yeah, I think it's a good bracelet. It's got nice tight tolerances there, very comfortable. The end links are nice and tight as well. They're not sliding around in there or anything like that. It does have quick release spring bars, which I am a huge fan of. It is also treated with that same hardness scale. So you can see even the clasp on this thing, it's pretty much spotless, and that's usually where those scratches come in. So the fact that the clasp on this thing looks mint, it goes to show you how good that hardness coating is. It really does make a big difference. I don't know if I mentioned it, the bracelet's 20 millimeters and it tapers down to 16 millimeters at this clasp. It's a really nice clasp. It's a fully milled clasp. You can see here, nice tight tolerances here and nice tight tolerances here. It opens, it closes exactly like you would expect it to. I've had no issues there, and it does have a really nice on-the-fly adjustment system. I've seen this clasp before. Christopher Ward uses one very similar to it. Sugas uses one very similar to it. So I've had no issues with it at all. It works nice and smooth every single time. It gets you the perfect adjustment. You got screw pins holding the bracelet together. Everything functions as it should. I removed 3 links. I had no issues removing the links. They do provide you a nice screwdriver in the box too. So yeah, overall, I am pretty happy with the bracelet on this thing. A little bit of hair nipping, but that's only when I'm sliding it on the wrist. So other than that, though, it's been great. So there you go, guys. That is the Heron Marinor Ghost. This is the packaging. It comes in really cool kind of bifolding box here. Really small packaging. Nicely done, though. Really nice and high quality feeling packaging if you're into that. The watch itself, I think, is a pretty good value as well. Miyota 9039, hardened stainless steel, nice construction, nice case shape, nice design. I like the branding. I like the guys behind the branding and the features that this watch has. Yeah, it's really hard to complain. I think if you're going to want this thing, you're going to have to act pretty quick. I want to say this is going to sell out pretty fast. It's an interesting look that not a whole lot of other brands are doing. And yeah, I think they got something a little interesting here. So if you guys are interested in this, go down to the video description. There will be a link down there. It's not an affiliate link or anything like that. I just really like this watch, and I think you guys will too. I think that's it for me, though. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.